The Antichrist's activity during the tribulation. The Antichrist's activity during the tribulation period is marked by significant events and actions that have far-reaching consequences for the world. He will deceive and manipulate nations, brokering a false peace treaty, establishing a world empire, and demanding worship as a supposed divine figure. His reign will be a dark chapter in human history, challenging humanity's moral integrity and faithfulness to truth in the face of evil. 1. The Antichrist will broker a 7-year peace treaty. One of the pivotal actions attributed to the Antichrist is the brokering of a 7-year peace treaty, as prophesied in Daniel 9 verse 27, "Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week." The signing of this peace treaty will be a momentous event that will capture the attention of the entire global community. The Antichrist, a charismatic and cunning figure, will use his persuasive abilities and political acumen to unite nations and leaders under the banner of peace. His skillful manipulation of international diplomacy will seemingly bring stability to a world plagued by chaos and conflicts. As the treaty unfolds, the Antichrist will reveal his true colors, gradually transforming from a peacemaker to a ruthless dictator. 2. A world empire will coalesce, eventually led by the Antichrist. According to biblical prophecies, during the tribulation period, there will be a coalescence of nations into a powerful world empire, with the Antichrist eventually rising to assume its leadership. This development is foretold in the book of Daniel, specifically in Daniel 7 verse 7, "After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It had huge iron teeth, it was devouring, breaking in pieces, and trampling the residue with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns, and in verse 24, the 10 horns are 10 kings who shall arise from this kingdom. And another shall rise after them, he shall be different from the first ones, and shall subdue 3 kings. The formation of this world empire will be a culmination of historical and geopolitical forces, driven by factors such as economic interdependence, technological advancements, and political ambitions. As the global landscape shifts, nations will come together, drawn by the allure of strength and unity and the promise of security in an increasingly unstable world. As the world empire takes shape, the Antichrist will ascend to a position of immense authority and influence within it. With the world empire under his control, the Antichrist will wield unparalleled political, economic, and military power. He will use this authority to suppress opposition and consolidate his rule, subjugating nations and peoples under his dominion. The false religious system that aligns with him will also play a crucial role in upholding and legitimizing his rule, enforcing loyalty and devotion to him as a divine figure. As the Antichrist's reign progresses, the world empire will become a symbol of humanity's collective rebellion against God, epitomizing the rejection of divine authority in favor of human pride and ambition. The stage will be set for a climactic confrontation between the forces of darkness and those who remain faithful to God and his truth. 3. The Antichrist will be assassinated and apparently brought back to life. The Bible says in Revelation 13 verse 3, "A significant event in the life of the Antichrist during the tribulation period will be his apparent assassination and subsequent miraculous resurrection." This event will be a pivotal moment in the deception and manipulation perpetrated by the Antichrist, further solidifying his hold over the deceived masses. The assassination of the Antichrist will likely be a desperate attempt by some who have recognized his true nature and nefarious intentions. These individuals, aware of the oppressive rule and deceitful nature of the Antichrist, may have plotted to eliminate him as a means of restoring freedom and justice. This resurrection will be staged as a grand spectacle, carefully orchestrated to amaze and bewilder the masses. The false religious system aligned with the Antichrist will propagate the idea of his divine nature, presenting this event as a miraculous proof of his supposed godhood. It will deceive countless people who will marvel at the display of power and perceive the Antichrist as an invincible and divine figure. As the news of the Antichrist's resurrection spreads, the deception will intensify, and many who were hesitant before may now unquestionably pledge allegiance to him. Those who were critical of him may now succumb to the fear of challenging an apparently invincible being. This staged resurrection will also contribute to the fulfillment of other biblical prophecies, such as the false signs and wonders that will deceive even the elect, Matthew 24 verse 24. The world will be plunged into a state of confusion and spiritual darkness, with the forces of evil working diligently to lead humanity astray from the truth. 4. The Antichrist will betray Israel, defile the rebuilt Jewish temple, and demand worship. In 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 4, the Antichrist will be the one who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Betrayal of Israel. The Antichrist will initially present himself as a friend and protector of Israel, using his diplomatic skills to establish a covenant or treaty with the nation, as mentioned earlier. However, this display of friendship will be a deceitful facade. At a critical moment, he will reveal his true intentions and turn against Israel, breaking the peace treaty and subjecting the nation to great persecution and hardship. This betrayal will be a devastating blow to Israel, leaving the nation vulnerable and isolated in a hostile world. Defilement of the rebuilt Jewish temple. As part of his defiance against God and a display of his blasphemous arrogance, the Antichrist will enter the rebuilt Jewish temple in Jerusalem. However, the Antichrist's actions will be an affront to their beliefs and practices. He will desecrate the sacred space, possibly by proclaiming himself as God or setting up an image of himself to be worshipped within the temple premises. Demanding worship. One of the defining characteristics of the Antichrist is his desire for worship and adoration. Exploiting the chaos and fear prevailing during the tribulation, the Antichrist will use his apparent resurrection and false signs and wonders to assert his claim as a divine being. He will demand absolute loyalty and worship from all the people, imposing his will upon them and punishing those who refuse to bow down to him. Throughout this period, true believers will face severe persecution and be forced to choose between standing firm in their faith or succumbing to the deception of the Antichrist. The faithful will be called to endure great trials and tribulations, relying on their unwavering trust in God's promises and the hope of ultimate redemption. 5. The Antichrist and false prophet will martyr those who reject him. Revelation 13 verse 15 says, "The Antichrist and the false prophet will martyr or cause the death of those who refuse to bow down to the Antichrist's rule and reject his false claims of divinity." The Antichrist's reign will be characterized by tyranny and a thirst for absolute control. As he demands worship and allegiance from all people, there will be those who stand firm in their faith, refusing to worship a mere mortal as a god. These brave individuals, motivated by their unwavering devotion to the true God, will become targets of the Antichrist's wrath. The false prophet, acting as a chief enforcer of the Antichrist's religious system, will play a crucial role in identifying and persecuting those who resist. This religious figure will employ deception and manipulation to lead people astray, convincing them to worship the Antichrist and adhere to his ideology. The false prophet will use his persuasive abilities to deceive even some who were previously faithful to the true God, leading them to join the ranks of the Antichrist's followers. The Antichrist and the false prophet will unleash a campaign of terror to those who reject the Antichrist's authority, seeking to eradicate any trace of dissent or opposition to their rule. They may use various methods to execute their victims, including public executions, imprisonment, torture, or even mass extermination. 6. The Antichrist will gather all nations against Jerusalem. Revelation 16 verse 16 reads, "And they gathered them together to the place which in Hebrew is called Armageddon." This verse comes after the pouring out of the sixth bowl, during which demonic spirits go out to gather the kings of the whole world to a specific location known as Armageddon. Armageddon is a symbolic place or a prophetic term rather than a specific geographical location. The term comes from the Hebrew words har, meaning mountain, and Megiddo, referring to the ancient city of Megiddo, which was known for its historical significance in ancient battles. The gathering of the nations against Jerusalem at Armageddon signifies the final battle between good and evil, with the Antichrist leading the forces of darkness. Hit notification, subscribe, to receive more inspirational videos and share for God's glory. The War of Armageddon will be an apocalyptic and catastrophic event, with devastating consequences for the world. It will be a time of unprecedented violence, destruction, and suffering, as the forces of evil seek to destroy all that is righteous and godly. However, The battle will not end in favor of the Antichrist and his followers. May tribulation not happen to you. God bless you.